Black, white with some black kids. Black car in the black crib. Black owned, black ran. Black woman and black man. Bet on black. Bet on black. Bet on black. Bet on black.
I know what you're thinking. There he go again, streaming on a Wednesday when he's supposed to be on Thursday. But this is a special episode, folks. So we could not keep this away from y'all. Yes, sir. This is Kid Gravity. Good evening to everyone. I hope you've had a productive day. If you did, that's great. If you didn't, there's always tomorrow. But today I said, you know what? We got to spotlight a YouTuber that I had found who is doing big things, and I'm trying to get to that level. This YouTube game is hard. It's hard, folks. It is to come up with content and be consistent and be engaging. It's tough, and it doesn't take a lot for me to be engaged on your channel. But this young lady got me engaged. Thank you to Tori and Rain for this recommend. I am here with Rhonda Mary, and she is quite funny, folks, but very informative. So I said, let's talk to her. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, and we're going to chop it up.
Hey y'all, so my name is Rhonda Mary. I am a YouTuber, content creator, and a Second Amendment advocate. You can check me out on YouTube at Rhonda Mary. I'm also available on Instagram and Twitter, Rhonda Mary, or I am Rhonda Mary. I basically just cover like political topics, social, cultural, and more recently, I have gotten into like the firearms, gun ownership, Second Amendment content as well. So I cover quite a bit.
Cool. I like that because I'm a Second Amendment advocate as well. I actually got my weapons carry permit down here in Georgia, even though the idiot governor just said, nah, everybody can have guns now, no permit required. So I'm like, great, you just grifted me out of $75, but whatever. I'm on the books as a black man because you know how black men are. You got to have 17 forms of ID and, not have a criminal record. And, you have to be an upstanding citizen.
Who knew? No, I'm just
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you got a new subscriber. Hello, 25 Kid, and hello to Nikki the God. All right, let's get into it. So, Second Amendment. We all know what that is. If you're not, go read a book. Y'all know how I do it on this channel. But, for the ones that are lazy, that is the right to bear arms. And that is a hotly contested issue in this country right now because if that falls, we're done as a society. Because then the government can get to do whatever they want. We can't defend ourselves. But you just said that you were now newly a 2A advocate. So explain how you got to that point.
Still feel new to me, but not quite new. But I actually started off as a YouTuber. I was making content about social and political topics. And I was learning more about American history, civil rights, and um, just world history. And I was already coming more open to the thought of being a gun owner as a result of that. And simultaneously, I think a year or two into me doing YouTube, I ended up being in a hit and run / road rage incident where, well, to give you a little background, because I don't want to breeze through that, but I was headed to brunch to meet my homegirls one Sunday morning, and an irate driver decided that I wasn't driving fast enough for him. He decided to physically move my car off the highway with his truck, ramming my bumper. Keep in mind that I was going 5 to 6 miles over the speed limit. And for some reason, when I tell this story, people will assume that I was just on a roll antagonizing this person. That was absolutely not the case. Some people will try to press violence against you for no other reason than they want to. They're in a bad mood. That's how they're feeling today, or whatever the case may be. So,
Right.
and there were other cars on the highway and in the other lane as well. And so, anyway, at some point, we did both come to a stop. We stopped on the side of the road. He came up, just cursing me out, just going off. And at that moment, it's like a light bulb went off because, before you start becoming trained in firearms, let me clarify, if you haven't been raised in a certain environment or with a certain mindset, you can just be moving through life without really thinking about the consequences and the potential of the situations that you're putting yourself in. So I allowed myself to be on the side of the street with this person that was already clearly okay with, violence against me, trying to knock my car off the road at 70 miles per hour. And at that moment, I was like, yeah, anything could happen to me. Who's going to help me? Who would know? And when the responding police officer showed up, it really solidified for me, because she was a young Black woman. And she was like, "Where's your firearm? Like, you don't have a firearm?" And I was like, no, thinking like I'm supposed to have a firearm. Like, nobody ever even talked to me about it like that or mentioned it in that way. Before, I had only heard negative sides of gun ownership, uh,
Hmm.
whether that was, gang related activity, white supremacy, school shootings, police shootings. Those are the only ways I had really ever heard gun ownership characterized, unless it was for somebody that was prior military or police or something like that. But as a regular civilian, I never just really thought about it outside of what we stereotypically see as the gun owner, portrayed in like media and Hollywood and TV and stuff like that. And so after that, I decided a few weeks later to go get my first firearm. And once I started getting trained and learning more, I was like, this is so much different than what I thought. I had to start telling people about this, sharing this experience. And because I had already built the YouTube following and platform to do so, it just was a smooth transition.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's getting rough out there, folks. Yeah, especially with us as Black people, we have to be armed because you never know what situation you're going to get into. So I'm glad everything worked out and you weren't accosted or physically, of course. But I'm yeah, that's just kind of rough, and
Yeah, I was really, really shaken up at the time. Like, I was really shaken up. But as have passed, I've learned a lot from it. I've been able to encourage people with my story. I know that if I'm ever in that situation again, what to do and what not to do.
Mhm.
So even though ultimately it was like an unfortunate situation, a lot of fruitful things have come out of it. So I really can't complain.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, we're talking with Rhonda Mary, YouTuber, 2A advocate, and very informative young woman. Okay, let's get into the fun. Let's get into the fun. Folk, now y'all know when I do my live streams, we touch on a lot of topics. And one of my wheelhouses happened to be politics. And since Mary does politics as well, let's ask her opinion from the other side. Now, the duplicitous bastard, aka the sniffer in chief, that's what I call him, Joe Biden. Joe Biden did student loan debt. He has a plan. He's gonna fulfill a campaign promise. He's gonna pay off student loan debt up to 10 grand, but you got to make under 125. All right, folks. Guess what we found out today? We found out that all them lawmakers, the ones that get to sign these bills into law before he gets it and then he signs it, they were complaining that he was wrong for trying to pay off student loan debt. But we found out, folks, and I'm going to share this screen, that a lot of them were getting the same relief that they said that other people in the country should not be getting. Oh, yes, folks. I know y'all can't see that yet, but give me 1 second. Control and plus are a beautiful thing. Now, this is Washington Examiner, so I know any lefties that'll show up will get pissed. But that's okay because you could go do your own research and use a lefty website, which they won't report. They will not report this, but it says taxpayers have paid over $50 million in student loan relief to Hill staff in last 3 years. So we were getting taxed during the scamdemic and helping people pay their student loans. Shout out to AOC. But yeah, you see that headline, Mary. What do you think about that so far?
Honestly, I really haven't deep dived into this student loan conversation. I'm gonna do it at some point. I really just been taking on everybody else's perspectives at this time. I
Mm-hmm.
I I don't have a good grasp on how exactly this is going to be approved so far, because if I remember correctly, during the campaign he said that he would support it, but it was something that had to be done through Congress. Now it appears as if he's going to be doing it unilaterally. And,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the case, I just have questions about how that will work. And then that they're also saying that you actually have to do an application to get the loan
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness. I don't know what that's about, but even that I feel like, is a trick bag in itself, because what are you like, what does that entail? What are you actually applying for, and the details that come with that? So I don't really know at this point. I still have a lot of questions about it. I do see some level of hypocrisy with the people that are okay with sending, billions to Ukraine, or like taking out PPP, and we see kind of some of the results of that and what happened with the
Mm-hmm.
country and the inflation. I mean, that also impacts inflation. And so, with the student loans, we'll see what happens. I just don't even know if there's something some people are suggesting like it's not even gonna work, like it's not gonna be a thing because he doesn't have the authority to do it. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm still trying to get a beat on this whole student loan thing.
That's cool. Yeah. Like I said, I've been talking about it for the last 2 weeks, but yeah, he sees a Napoleon. He think he could do whatever he wants. And House Republicans already said, "Nah, we not signing off on this."
I
So he's going to make them the bad guys. So
I mean, and it's obviously strictly for the vote. And if you want to get people out, that's definitely one way to do it. So
mhm.
they're definitely getting serious about their campaign tactics and how they're going about it. But I guess we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens with it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, we'll continue on the politics. Let's ask the question: Black man to black woman, how do you feel about Kamami?
Why you call that lady command me?
She is a mammy because she plays the part of a mammy. She scolds everybody else that looks like us, but likes to make sure that she's nice to everybody else. She was never for us, even though we've proven that she's not for us. People still want to love up on her. And it's now that the administration's in trouble. Now everybody's starting to acknowledge what she hasn't done. So that's why we call her Kamami. And plus, she's a coon anyway. So
I wouldn't say all that, but I mean, she obviously comes with her own set of problems. I find it interesting that someone that has reached such a high level of success doesn't seem to get it right in front of the camera. It's just very like awkward every time she speaks, and I'm trying to figure out like what's going on between her and her speechwriter. Like, are they beefing? And that to me, you know, you've reached this seat in this high office, this high office, and
Mm-hmm.
supposedly are a representation, of Black women. And then every time we hear you speak, you're bumbling. Like you're speaking in circles. Like, what are you actually saying? And sometimes it's sad, but Joe Biden sounds more coherent than her, which is crazy to me. So when
Mm.
we do see her, when we finally do see her, it's like, what exactly is she saying? And then any other time, she's basically hiding out. So, you know, I feel like as far as she goes, it was a lot more to be said as she was running during the campaign, because now, I mean, we rarely see her. They bring her out every now and again, but she kind of hides, I feel like, in the shadow of Joe Biden until they decide, okay, they're done with him and he has to go be on bed rest or whatever he needs to do to get his mind right. And then it'll be her time to shine. So,
Another vacation this weekend.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is. President's job is very tough, so you have to take a vacation every weekend,
Gotta
and
take
then
that.
sometimes you got to. Yep, got to take a vacation. Take a vacation for the vacation, on the vacation, after the vacation, and then before the next vacation.
Is the news giving him as much of a hard time as they gave Trump about his golfing?
No, they're saying that he's, for the most part, 95% of them are saying, it's starting to become an issue now. It's like you're always going away every weekend
Mm.
now, but
He probably needs to catch up on his rest.
rest. I mean, I don't think he works harder than Trump, but what do I know? He's 80 years old. What do I know? He wanted to be president, like his boy Barry Soetoro. I'm sorry, Barack Obama. I'm sorry. I tend to do that at times. I'm sorry, folks. Got to respect that somewhat black man. Got to respect him. He's hold the title of president forever. We're paying for his security. We're gonna respect him just because Rhonda's here. I don't respect him when nobody else is on my platform, but that's okay. We're going to continue. I like talking to you because you give a good perspective. You keep it fair and balanced. It's okay. I like that because
Okay.
it's easy for me to just find somebody that thinks like me. It's okay. I'm fine with that. I appreciate it. Might have to have you come back one day and really get into this stuff, especially
Yeah,
with the student loan, because I know what you read all this literature and stuff and really get into it. You might go off on your podcast and your channel. You might go off,
I
but
might. I
yeah,
might. I'm still trying to see what it's all about.
yeah. 25 Kid says she's like Santa Claus. She comes every so often, but brings no gifts, only excuses. That is our command. But let's continue, folks. Let's continue. Let's get off politics. Let's have some fun. Now, how deep are you with the social media and the stories that circulate around our celebrities?
It just depends which celebrity.
Did you hear what happened with Chris Rock?
No, well, no, tell me, because
All right.
I kind of saw people mentioning him today, but I'm not sure. Like,
Well, this fool yesterday was doing a stand up in Phoenix, Arizona. And for those who don't know about Phoenix, that is a white/Latino haven. So you already know black folk is like really like almost becoming a sundown town. But he went on stage and he made a joke, folks. And his joke was, well, first he told us the audience he declined hosting the 2023 Oscars because they were clamoring to host it because it's gonna be a ratings boost. The first one after Will Smith changed the whole world and got white people scared, even though white people be doing stuff underneath off camera, but they were so scared that a black man slapped another black man. They couldn't believe it. It shocked their system. But anyway, he said that him hosting that show next year was like Nicole Brown Simpson going back for her glasses at the restaurant the night she got deleted. And of course, we know what happened. People put that out there, and he got so much backlash because it's cool to make fun about a black woman, and everybody's on your side and allow you to have, your say and play victim. But once you bring up the white woman, oh Lord, everybody wants your hide. So basically, that's the gist of it. How do you feel about that?
Do you think it could be the same people that were kind of mad about him saying something about Jada? Like, do you think it's a little cross reference there with overlapping there with the group of people that would typically be more offended?
No, these are the same people who said that it was just a joke when he said it about Jada, and Will took it too far. But again, I said this in my video. They hold that woman up in royalty because they see OJ walking around and he got away with it, and they're still salty after 20, what was it, 28 years. They're still salty. And for him to say that joke, they saw OJ on stage saying that joke.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like if we can make jokes about like Michael Jackson, like after death and all these other people, I feel like at a point, well, I'm just not typically a very sensitive person, like when it comes to comedy and stuff like that. So I might not be the best person to speak on this because my comedy meter from like funny to okay, this is cancelable might not be the best. But um, I mean, even that is not like a obscene joke to me. I think people are mostly offensive because she's no longer alive, but people make jokes
Yeah.
about people that's no longer alive all the time.
But you also got to remember he caught heat for making a joke about Whitney Houston. And you know how we are with Whitney.
I don't remember that. What was the
Yeah,
joke?
he had somebody put up a meme that said me in a meeting that could have been done through email, and they had a picture of Whitney doing an interview with sunglasses on, and she clearly did not want to be there. And on his caption, he said, "Time to go. I'd rather be smoking crack." And he caught so much heat, he had to delete it. Even Bobby Brown got at him, and Bobby. Shout out to Bobby.
I think that I can understand Bobby's anger, and I think that I can understand people's concern with like addiction and stuff like that. But I think trying to mold or censor, comedy, I just do not think it's a good path for us to
Right.
be headed down generally. You know what I mean? But then
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone could argue that, okay, he used free speech. Now we're using free speech to tell him we don't like it. Not necessarily going as far as to counsel him, but we have a right to say we don't like it. Like, we're not into it. We didn't think that was funny, So, I mean, I guess the question really comes down to like, who's wrong? Like, who's wrong? A person for telling a joke or the market for saying, yeah, like we have to buy this product, we have to buy into you as a comedian, and we're not feeling it. So it's a little bit of a tricky time. And the sad thing is, I think going forward for standout comedians, it's going to be a thin line to walk because you can have the Dave Chappelle's and the Bill Burrs that'll really take it there and
Mm-hmm.
they are and not apologize for it and are able to keep solidify and almost lionize their fans, whereas you will have a Chris Rock say something and it's like, oh, like we coming for your head.
Yeah. I had more of a problem with the analogy. Like, you didn't have to bring her up. You could have said, me hosting that show is like Will Smith being the executive producer of the Oscars. That might have been better. You might have got more laughs. You saying about Nicole Brown says, I don't even know how she popped up in his head when he was writing this down. I don't even know, but you know, it I just didn't like the analogy of it. He could have picked out way more. He's a clever dude. He could have picked out way more analogies than that one.
But I think that the shock value is a huge part of comedy too. I'm not even saying that it was such a I'm definitely not saying that it was such a great joke. I'm kind of like apathetic to it. Like I really don't, it's not moving me one way or the other. I don't feel particularly disgusted by it, but I also don't think it's
Right.
funny. And so I think that sometimes you do have humor that comes with a bit of, or at least some of the better comedians that comes with a little bit of shock value. And I guess modern society has to decide like what's too shock worthy at the moment.
Hmm. Okay. See, again, this is why I like you. You bring a different perspective. Now you got me thinking. Okay, let's add this little caveat to it. Now, he's had a history of saying things about women. I mean, most comedians do it anyway. But how do you feel about the video that's resurfaced of him in 2011 talking with white comedians and them using the N word, and he didn't correct them not one time? He was sitting there laughing with them.
So I do remember seeing a video probably like a couple of years ago. I
Mm.
haven't seen it recently, so it's not very fresh on my mind. Um, but I will say that it reminds me of, and I mean, this is not to be like offensive to anybody in the chat, but I'm just keeping it real. Like, there's
Hmm.
this theme or there's this belief that Black people are a monolith, or we think the same, or we move the same, or we have the same desires, or we think the same things are disrespectful or good, or whatever the case may be. And I'm born and raised in Mississippi. I see how people that tend to live in like the Californias and like the New Yorks, particularly, are, you know, when their Hispanic friends and their white friends are using the N word, I constantly see, oh well, you not from here, it's different, it's not like that here, everybody say that here, we all run together, we all hang together. And honestly, as hard as I may try, I don't get it. I can't fathom it. I don't relate. I'm just not into it. It's just not my thing. You know what I'm saying? It's something I have never. I just really don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And where I'm from, there's just we don't move like that. There's just not something we do. So culturally, I can't relate with being cool with that. I've never
Hmm.
been in the presence of a friend, colleague, I mean, anybody of, a different race or ethnic background, and heard them use that term. I mean, really in any type of way. So to me, I just, it's over my head. You know what I'm saying? But then when I say that on Twitter, people come for my head like, oh, you just don't get it. You just, it's different, isn't it? And I'm like, I'm not going back and forth with y'all. You can do whatever you want, but that's just one example of how a lot of times I think that depending on where you are in the country, your upbringing,
Hmm.
and I'm not, like I said, I'm not making excuses, because this is one thing that I have addressed before, just because it's so far out of my understanding. But when somebody give you a response like that, I remember one time I was traveling, and this Hispanic girl was doing my nails, and she answered the phone. She was FaceTiming her boyfriend, and it was a Black dude, and she was calling him my N word, my N word, my N word. I'm thinking, girl, I don't even call my man my N word. Like, so, and like, I'm like, for you to be so comfortable, this is obviously something you do and nobody else, and I'm just passing through, I'm just a traveler by, and ain't nobody else got up and said nothing or whatever the case may be. and your man on FaceTime accepting it. So who, that's your lover, not me. So who am I to say something? You know what I'm saying? So I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just like a weird, it's just like a weird dynamic. I really can't speak on how other people take it, but I just know how I take it. I don't even use the word. So of course I'm not gonna be cool with somebody else. Like I don't even call my loved ones that. So of course I wouldn't be cool with like nobody else using it towards me or with me or anything else.
Right, right, right. This so is this not a weird world?
I mean, people just I guess just got their reasons and they just different and then just go, it's just a reminder to me that going back to politics, I hate that the Joe Bidens of the world, you don't vote for me, you ain't black, try to make black people as if we're a monolith when actually if you look culturally like regionally and things like that, like I have more in common with a person in the next state, possibly regardless of race, as opposed to somebody in California, just off the fact of how we were raised, the foods that are more culturally relevant here, like the things we're into, our interests, hobbies, and stuff like that. And that's something that the internet really showed me because as I travel, I will meet people and I'm like, bro, like we don't have nothing in common other than tone, skin tone, like to be for real, for real. And one time somebody, I did an episode on Jubilee. It was about feminism, and it was mostly like white leftists coming for me. Like 97% of the people that was coming for me was like white leftists, and you had a few like other people here and there. And I remember one black girl came at me, and she was like, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, right? But then majority black people was like bigging me up, like giving me props and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, like, you right, like all kinfolk ain't skinfolk. Like, I don't have nothing in common with people that want to murder, like babies in the womb or like transition children and all this other stuff. Like, you right. Like, I don't have nothing in common with you. Like, and I'm okay with that. Like, if you don't know the difference between a man and a woman, like I'm okay with not being your kinfolk. Like I'm really, really cool with that. And I've accepted that. So like, you know, it's just levels to it. And I think a lot of this over the last couple years have been like eye-opening experiences for me.
All right. I my computer did not like you saying that. It kicked me the hell out of here.
Oh, I was all in the zone.
I'm sure everybody heard what you said. This was just on my end.
Okay.
But it's all good. I appreciate that perspective. Again, you gave me something to think about. See, folk, if y'all not subscribed to her, I suggest you go do that. You can do that while you're still listening to the video. Let us see those subs, please, please, please. But let's continue. Oh, by the way, when that Hispanic woman and her man were talking and saying the N word, did this happen? Is that how you felt?
I was like, that was the first time, and this was within the last year. That's how recent it was. And that was the first
Mm.
time I ever been in the presence of somebody that wasn't black, like using that word. And I was so thrown off. And I'm looking around to see if everybody else is thrown off, and nobody else gives a crap. And I just feel like, yeah, you know, this something different. Like, let me finish up here and keep it moving. So
Yeah, you got to decompress.
Yeah, it was like a I don't know, it was just a different experience because I had never experienced that before. So her man didn't have a problem with it. So, you know.
Mm, yeah, we'll see. Just give me 1 second. Let me see something. Hold on. Let me see something. Damn. Okay. Your video froze on my end. All right. I'll deal with it. It's all good. All right. Last thing before we start to wrap up. Um, so you say you were born and raised in Mississippi.
Hmm.
Now, Mississippi get a bad rap. It does.
Hmm.
Like everybody thinks that's backwards. There's reports that is the poorest state in the country. Um, kind of quickly tell us, are those things true, or just people just like making stuff up because they just don't want to visit that country because of all the story? I mean, that state because of all the stories.
I love Mississippi. Like, I'm gonna always love Mississippi because it's home. It's what
Mm,
I'm familiar with. Um, I think that culturally, based on other places that I visited, like
mm,
other places are more diverse. I would
mhm,
say Mississippi has more of like a black and white majority population, which I'm sure most places are like that. But like, if you go to like you know, a NYC or a DC or something like that, I just feel like you have way more of like, you have more Mexican,
diversity.
Puerto Ricans, like Africans from different countries and Caribbeans and things like this. And I don't think we have the same rate of diversity in Mississippi, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, so also I think that because Mississippi is in the South, I think that people have manners and people for the most part are generally nice. That has been my lived experience in Mississippi.
Mm.
I cannot speak for other people. Like, and we obviously know history and things like that, but that has been my lived experience, right? Like, even when people are kind of doing their own things and kind of, you know, to their own side of the road or however you want to put it, like it's a level of politeness and mind your business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Say
Where
that again.
it's a certain level of politeness and mind your business. I don't feel like people be in your business in the same way. Like, for example, when I visited DC, I think this was 2 years ago, like a random person, a random white guy was jogging in near the Capitol, and he goes on to tell us, the group of ladies that I was with, like, y'all need to put on masks. Now, keep in mind, we're walking outside. He's jogging past us. First of all, who you talking to? Like, that's the first place my
Wait a
mind
minute.
goes.
Wait a minute. Hang on. I gotta let you. I gotta let you rock. I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta let you rock. Go ahead.
The first place my mind goes is like, who are you talking to? And so, me being a person that I am, like, don't get me wrong, now that I'm a gun owner, I do think way more about, what I say and how I respond to things and the situation that I'm in, but I'll still be like, who you talking to? You know what I'm saying? So, and it's been other experiences where I'll be traveling and people are just be in business that don't belong to them, or just very rude mannerisms, like will bump into you or be in a way, or like won't move, won't say excuse me. Like, you could be coming through the door right behind them and they'll close the door, or just men not being generally gentlemen. So I think when people kind of minding their business, it's like a certain level of you know, ain't nobody messing with nobody type of thing. But that's why I feel like when I turn on the news and in New York City, you see people fighting on the subway train or,
Mhm.
things like this. It's like y'all so up under each other. You're so close. Your proximity. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
everybody intermingling. And don't get me wrong, this is not like some type of plea for segregation. That's not what I'm saying here. Let me be clear about that. But what I'm saying is, I think that when you have so many people, so many cultures, so many backgrounds, so many demeanors and personalities all in such close proximity, it just breeds the potential for like violence and misunderstandings. It's been times where it was one time that I was at a store and I was trying to get the clerk to help me. And the way he responded to me, I'm like, what? Like, what? And my friend was like, nah, nah, nah. Like, that's just how we talk. Like, that's just how we talk out here. And
Was
I'm
that
about to,
DC? That was DC?
no, this was in New York.
Oh Lord. That's my
And
hometown. Go ahead. It's probably true. Go ahead.
my friend was like, nah, this just how we talk. This just how we talk out here. And I'm like, I'm thinking the dude is like getting hostile. Like, I'm literally thinking he's getting hostile with me. Like, why are you, like, what did I do to you? Why are you escalating this up? And I'm just asking you a question about a product. And the way he responded to me, and it could have been something different if my friend wasn't there to pretty much mediate and be like, nah, nah, nah. It was a little aggressive, but he didn't mean it like that. It's just, we're a little rough around the edges. And so that gives me an opportunity to go, oh, okay. you know. But
So
when
so
everybody,
this wasn't an opportunity to say who you talking to?
well, it was, but my
Okay.
friend stepped in when he saw how I looked like who you talking to? And this dude, he had kind of like a Jersey Shore type accent or something.
Ooh.
And so I don't know. I feel like, am I giving off a lot of stereotypes tonight? I don't know. I'm
Nah,
just
nah. Listen, nah. This is us. I mean, we keep it free and open around here. So
I'm just,
I let everybody. I let everybody get.
experiences.
I let everybody get it. I let everybody get off. So you talk the way you want to talk.
So I think that the thing about Mississippi is that it absolutely has its cons. Don't get it twisted. We still have problems with the education system, with the
Mm.
prison system, with the economy, like bringing in jobs and stuff like that. But as far as like the culture, the people, like the food, the Southern hospitality, the music, the love, the warmth, like to me, like you can't beat it. I haven't found anything that replicate it. The closest I've probably seen is like Texas.
I
Is
thought you was
like,
about to say Atlanta.
no, oh no, no, no,
I thought you
no.
was about to say Atlanta.
No, the closest I've probably seen somewhat is like Texas to the Southern hospitality and kind of just the warm aura of people.
Hmm.
And I would say that before you judge Mississippi, you gotta come see for yourself. And when you come, you gotta, you gotta go with somebody that's gonna like take you to do the good stuff. Like you're not going to visit Mississippi because you want Miami or an Atlanta or a Vegas experience. Like that's not why you go to Mississippi. You come to Mississippi for the food, the people, the shooting guns, the horseback riding, the mud riding, the fishing, the festivals and the parades and Like that's why you come to Mississippi.
I've been trying to get my wife to come down to Mississippi. Well, we both from up north, so I'm more open to doing it because there's a lot of civil rights history there.
Hmm.
That one over there, she said, "Nasa, we ain't doing that." She
You
hear the
can't go
deliverance music. She hear that deliverance music. We drove to Texas from Atlanta, and she ducked her head when we got into Mississippi. She's like, "You better drive through this mother real quick."
you can't go off you can't go off just what people saying or like the because I've had people be like, y'all still ride horses and carriages there, and
I
don't get me
love
wrong.
horse riding is fun. I don't know what people
Right.
talking about.
Like people do it for fun, but they not riding horses to get the
Yeah,
word.
we ain't finna go out looking like Del Rio, Texas. We not doing that. We just out there having fun. We are the first cowboys, white people. I know white people gonna show because you was on the show. White people, we was the first cowboys. Okay, so that's that. But I did want to ask you about the food. Now,
Hmm.
Mississippi, what's y'all thing? Is y'all thing the soul food or is it the barbecue? I need to know.
Soul food.
Okay, so it's the soul food.
It's
Okay.
soul food.
N-
We
Now,
we
who
we
y'all
got a
smack? Now, do
barbecue.
y'all smack?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, these braces got me on something different, but that's all I'm gonna
That's
say.
fair.
I've been smacking lately, but we really known for like the soul food, the catfish, the cornbread, the collard greens.
How
Like
y'all make y'all cornbread?
now,
I'm a
see,
chef, so I want to know. I want to know.
no, that's not. I don't do the cornbread. The cornbread is not a question you can ask me. I'm sorry, I'm not solidified with the grandma auntie arms all the way yet. I have
Mm.
my grandmother has this amazing recipe that no, I don't think anybody else in the family has a recipe, and I have it somewhere. And for some reason, it doesn't feel quite right to crack it open just yet. But
Mhm.
her her recipe, how she makes it, is like a family favorite. Like you can just eat it straight out the pan, like cake. Don't need anything to go with it. I mean, it's just moist and just so good. And
Mhm.
so she's like the real cornbread person, but I've been on this health kick. So,
I
I
hear you.
I
Me
don't really
too.
eat cornbread unless I go visit, the fam or
Yeah.
holidays or something like that. So
Yeah, we got to last on this earth, especially what's going on out here. We got to make sure our essences stay as long as it can. 'Cause,
absolutely.
but okay, so what's the thing in Mississippi? What's like the soul food thing? Like if I cross in Mississippi and I get off the highway and I see a nice black soul food restaurant, what I got to go in there and get? And mind you, I don't eat pork, so
Um, recognizable places.
well, just like what dish would you tell me if you ain't
Okay.
eat this in Mississippi, we not friends.
I mean, you got to do the catfish. I think that's probably like the biggest, probably like one of the biggest things we're known for is the
So y'all
cat
fry it or y'all cook it?
fry it.
All right. I know
Fried
some people like fry
cat.
it in the with the
Um,
bread in.
yes. But we do good like fried chicken and ribs, greens. That's kind of like our specialties.
Y'all big with pork down there?
I don't eat pork, so but yeah, they are. You got chicken
Mm.
mac and cheese to make sure it don't have pork in it. So you got to check who you around and see what's
Y'all
up.
putting cheese? Y'all putting pork in
Man,
y'all
let
mac
me
and
say,
cheese?
I went to this fancy gala that was like, I mean, honestly, it was like a majority white, like it was like a kind of upscale type thing. And
Hmm.
they had bacon and they macaroni and cheese. Baby,
Damn,
this
white people love them some bacon, boy.
Mississippi,
Mm.
like we get down. That's why I'm telling you, when I used to see these articles on Twitter that would be like white people are known for eating healthier than Black people. And I be thinking like, where? Cause
Where? You know what it is? They're getting it from the big cities because they all run up there. And especially where I was living in New York and Brooklyn, it's so gentrified. Like you'll see Starbucks there. You'll see like these health food markets. You'll see all the bodegas now all of a sudden have organic food sections because white people there. So that's why they say that, and plus white people, they jog and bike everywhere and take the train and whatever. So they automatically assume healthiness with that, but that's not always the case.
in Mississippi, we eat, okay? We
Hmm.
eat. Everybody
Yeah.
eat. It's
And I
like
work in restaurants. You should see the place white people be getting.
it's across the board. Like I've been to business meetings, okay, where they bring out the linens, the nice chairs, they have, the floral arrangements. And baby, for
Hmm.
lunch, you are having fried chicken. I'm talking
Yes.
about nice business meetings. So, of 100 people. So we eat.
Yeah,
So
y'all eating.
everybody is seasoning their food. Like, don't get it twisted. Now we
So
still,
so Mississippi is a season. You got a season in Mississippi or you get kicked out.
oh yes. Oh
All right.
yes.
All
Yes,
right.
yes,
So
yes.
what's y'all seasoning down there? Do y'all do it like us with the 27 seasonings or everything got to be precise?
It just depends on who you get. We gonna mix a little everything. They gonna give you everything under the kitchen sink. Like you it's going to be seasoned. And you gonna know when you look back there and you see who in the kitchen and what's happening. You gonna know. But I'm telling you,
Mhm.
as I have traveled, I'm like, bro, let me get back home.
Let me get back home. Let me get back home. This food ain't hitting. It ain't hitting right.
It's not hidden.
Yeah.
It's not hidden, man. And
Yeah.
so, hey, but risks come with that because we're also not the healthiest. So
Yeah.
even
But you
me,
know what I think too? I think this whole scamdemic thing, I think it exposed a lot of people to change the way they operate in life.
hmm
So, change comes hard for some people, but they'll be better for it in the long run. But yeah, this has been fun. I definitely got to have you come back. Definitely got to have you come back. Especially, I want to talk more about 2A because
oh,
I'm pretty sure the next time somebody tries to run you off the road, you'll have that thing on you and you'll be like this if they get bucked.
I gotta have me some fun. I gotta have me some fun.
Yes, they gonna know better because there's one thing you don't do is try to take a black woman out in this world. You will get cussed out, and you will every discretion you ever did in life when she get to touch your soul with her voice. But I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate this. This was fun. So we're gonna wrap up, folks, because I gotta go cook and Rhonda gotta go get she gotta go get re-energized because there's a lot going on in the world and she needs to be there for her crowd. So before we go, folks, I'm gonna let Rhonda reintroduce herself again, tell us where she can find her, and then we're gonna get up out of here.
all right, y'all. You can find me on YouTube, Rhonda Mary. I'm also on Twitter. I am Rhonda Mary, and Instagram, Rhonda_Mary is some version of Rhonda Mary because your girl be getting banned and censored and everything else.
Mm.
Some form of Rhonda Mary, you'll find me.
Damn, they just you know what I've seen a lot of black content, well, black female content creators just be getting their pages just taken. Y'all must be pissing somebody off some way.
Some going on.
I guess I maybe what the way I be going to Stacey Abrams on my thing, I'm sure I'd probably get suspended closer to the election. I'm sure, but I'm gonna get her tomorrow. I'm gonna get her tomorrow. But yes, folks, and y'all know how I give it up everywhere. The Kid Gravity on Twitter, Kid Gravity Beyond on Instagram, and yeah, just click the link in the description box. It'll just take you everywhere you need to go. But yes, folks, this was fun. Rhonda, may you have an enjoyable evening. I know that nap is calling your name, and Your pillow will be better for it.
Yes.
And, you know, kudos to you. Again, much success to your channel. I really enjoy your content and looking forward to the next upload or live stream. And yes, folks, we're going to get up out of here. All y'all take care, stay safe. And just remember, you know what I start saying now. When a supremacist tries to mess up your life, you do this.